All right, Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhoto is live for us in Braamfontein. Katleho, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time tonight. What's the mood there tonight?
A very good evening, Thabo. Indeed, it's a somber mood here where the women from the legal fraternity have gathered for a night vigil to celebrate and honor the life of Magistrate Mamello, as well as many others who've been victims at the hands of gender-based violence. Now, what we saw here this evening is that the women of the legal fraternity dressed in their court robes and lighting candles and spending about 5 minutes just remembering the lives of those who've been lost and people who've been victims of the gender-based violence. And yes, earlier on we heard from the organizers the need or the need for the better protection of victims, and especially when people report cases at police stations, just making sure that the proper processes are followed. But the message here has been very clear that it's about women of the legal fraternity finally coming together and gathering against the scourge of gender-based violence. But I do have with me Mam Brenda, who is one of the organizers and an advocate, just to speak to us about tonight's activities. Mam Brenda, I heard the message clear up there that it's about time you speak up as legal practitioners. Why did this have to happen for you to come together?
Listen, I think, all of us are hit by certain moments in our lives, right? And I think for the legal profession and the legal fraternity, especially the women lawyers, it had to take the death of Mamello for them to take a moment and pause and say, what have we done to make a difference, right? And for that I'm appreciative, because all along it was many others who have been really fighting and putting gender violence on the map and saying, country, we have to stop this scourge, right? So now that we have women lawyers who decide to stand up, we might, and I'm going to say this, we might see a difference in the courts, right? Because for me, is that they have got a responsibility, not just by being here at the night vigil, but when we appear before them in different courts, whether it's the magistrate courts, whether it's the high court, whether it's the constitutional court, that firstly, they will start their courts on time. There are women who have applied for protection orders who sit the whole day in courts because the magistrate is doing this and that. They're here. So they need to understand what it does to victims and survivors of gender-based violence. So many people will be asking the question, why now? And why not now? And that's, for me, I'm happy that they've taken the stand, and I want to see something in action, not just words and us being here at night, that we're going to see a difference in the way they handle themselves, as firstly as women, secondly as legal practitioners. Yeah.
One of the sentiments, Mam Brenda, is that more successful prosecutions in relation to gender-based violence will result in perhaps the message being sent that gender-based violence will not be accepted and tolerated. Are successful prosecutions also part of the message sending?
Absolutely. Remember, prosecutors are lawyers, right? They happen to be within a organized formation, which is the National Prosecuting Authority, but they're lawyers, right? So they should have been here, and I'm hoping that some of them are here just to understand that once they prosecute these cases, the amount of time, effort, and just diligence that they need to give to these cases, they have been. And here's the thing for me: it's not just about you receiving dockets and files. It's about you immersing yourself in the lives of those people that you're going to be fighting for. When you are going to go into a court as a prosecutor and fight for a victim of rape, you need to understand what that has done to that woman, right? And understand the trauma and the harm that has been inflicted that woman. So when you fight with your being and everything, that you become successful and have a successful conviction. And maybe society, we shouldn't be expending more time on convictions and arrests, It's about how we change the mindset that these things don't happen in the first place. That we don't have rapes, we don't have sexual harassment, we don't have women queuing looking for protection order because a woman has said to her lover, I don't want to see you anymore, I want to terminate the relationship, and you think you can kill her for that, or you can abuse her for doing that. So it's changing the mindset of men not to think that they have control and power over women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just another one, in terms of this gathering of all of you as legal practitioners, what message do you hope it sends to ordinary South Africans?
I think it's going to be a positive message because they've never seen it before, right? They've never seen women lawyers, let alone lawyers in general, right? So they've not seen women lawyers taking a stand. So I think it's going to be a positive to many just to think, oh yeah, and the penny might drop to others to say, they're not immune. Because remember, violence doesn't care whether you are a magistrate or a judge or your social standing is that you are rich or whatever. When it hits, right? And so I think for those who are victims and survivors, when they get to know and see that it's happening to others and that the whole profession is rising, it gives them hope that maybe something good will come out of it.
Thank you so much for your time, Mam Brenda. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thabo, you heard it there from Mam Brenda, an advocate there, also an organizer of this night vigil here, speaking quite strongly about the necessity for women lawyers, but I guess lawyers as a whole, to come together and to make a stand against the scourge of gender-based violence, and highlighting the necessity that in the courtrooms, the need for the speeding up of cases, for cases to not be delayed and postponed, but that action is taken quite quickly, especially in these kinds of cases.
Katleho, Sekhoto, much appreciated. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.